Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy Monday to you, December the 5th, as we begin another week of college basketball actions. Small card here today, but we did come up with 3 games we're going to break down for you and see if we can't find a couple of best bets along the way. And we're going to do it with 3 of the finest here at wagertalk.com, as well as a closet somewhere in the Eastern Seaboard at sportsmemo.com. That would be Mid-Major Matt hanging out in the closet today. He's going to light a candle, guys. Don't worry. It's going to get brighter. Brian Power in the house, along with his brother from a different mother. That would be Bryan Leonard here to give you guys a little action here tonight in the college basketball slate. And Brian Power, how was the weekend, my man? And on a $9 Monday, all best bets are $9. What do you got up, locked, and loaded at Wager Talk for us?
Well, as far as the weekend goes, I wish I could come on here and quote Ice Cube and say it was a good day on Sunday, but it was not. It was definitely the worst NFL Sunday of the year, but we've already bounced back on Monday. Had Japan in the early World Cup match. They forced extra time like I thought they would. So 1-0 start to Monday. And as you so eloquently put it, Joe, it is $9 Monday, and you can get the rest of my card, 4 plays, including Monday Night Football, 2 college basketball plays, and NBA for just $9. Whole card. 4 plays, $9 we've got. Let's bounce back in style, do it the right way. And I will be giving out one of those college hoops plays at the end of this program.
All right. See, a lot of action here tonight on a Monday. $9 best bets. That's what we've got. Bryan Leonard, how about you? Do you have anything locked and loaded for us over at Wager Talk for this evening?
Yes, I do. I have 2 college basketball plays. One I'll be giving you here is my best bet. 7-0 over the weekend in college basketball, 14-3 run. Also, I've got my top NHL play up on the site for only $9 today. Also, like Brian, I think he rubbed off on me. I had a lousy NFL Sunday also. Luckily, we went 4-0 in college basketball, so that helped. But, yeah, not a good Sunday for us in the NFL.
Gotta be something to do with the name there, and you both spell it the same way. It's a mess. Talk to us here. Mid-Major Matt Josephs. Guys, you can find him over at sportsmemo.com and also $9 Monday there. So best bets locked and loaded for you tonight. Mid-Major Matt, what are we looking at?
Waiting on one prop to maybe show up for Monday Night Football tonight. The college basketball card, the only play I would have had for tonight, I will give out on the show as always. I mean, only 7 games, so why not give out the best bet here on the show?
All right, good stuff then. Let's start, if we can, with, well, this should be an interesting one, huh? How about the Zags laying 2 touchdowns, 153 as a total, 9 o'clock Eastern time tip here for the Golden Flashes, who, let's be realistic here. On paper, you might look at this and go, boy, another Gonzaga blowout at home. But I don't know. I don't think Houston thought that was an easy game there, Brian. So talk to me here, Brian Power. Kent State, the Zags, are you willing to lay that many with them at home tonight in this one?
Well, it's pretty interesting when you look at the ATS results coming in here, Joe. Kent State's perfect 7-0 against the number, and Gonzaga 1-6. So normally when you have a situation like that, like, all right, has the market adjusted enough? It's probably a good buy low spot on the team that's been struggling against the spread. But I'm not sure it has here. And Gonzaga, to me, it's all about how motivated they are and how they come out. They had the major gag job against Baylor last Friday, blowing a 7-point lead in the final 93 seconds. How do they respond to that? I suppose there's an argument that they're going to be fired up and looking to take their frustrations out. But at the same time, do we think they're going to be that motivated by a visit from Penn State? I mean, that was a rematch of the title game 2 years ago. They just lost to Baylor. And they had the 4-game run down in Portland. And then you talked about the Kent State-Houston game, Joe. They stayed within 5 Golden Flashes. And they could have won that game, but they shot horribly. They were 6 of 29 from 3. Their best player, Carey, was 2 of 22. So if it was just a normal shooting night, they could have pulled the outright upset. This is a Golden Flashes team whose 2 losses are by a combined 7 points. I know Gonzaga's ability to score is always a concern for the opposition, but Kent State 12th nationally, 2-point field goal percentage defense, top 6 in forcing turnovers. If I'm on this one, I'm taking the points here with Kent State as they look to stay perfect against the number.
It certainly does, Bryan Leonard, feel like a David versus Goliath here. We know, especially at home with the Zags, they do it's like, a 30-3 run. It's now 120-8. It's like, what just happened here? What do you think of Kent State's ability to stay with them here in this one?
Yeah, you talked about the Kent State game against Houston. They lose that game 49-44, and that wasn't a halftime score. But if you look at the actual shot quality numbers from it, they should have tied 67-67. I'm a huge believer in this shot quality information. So if you get a chance, go over to shotquality.com and sign up. It's a great deal. But if you take a look at what Kent's done so far this year, they come into this game with a nice 5-2 record, but the 3 games that they had a post-game win percentage of over 50%. Against Portland, they win by 12. Looking at the shot quality numbers, it should have only won by 3. Arkansas Pine Bluff, they win by 26. Should have only won by 12. Chicago State, they win by 29. Should have only won by 18. This is a team right now, those are the only 3 games that they should have won. And the numbers are showing that they were shooting lights out, and they won't be able to do that again. Problem is, Gonzaga is another team right now that's just, you go over their record on the entire season. Post-game win percentage, okay, we got an 85% against North Florida in a game they win by 41 points. They should have only won by 15. 82 against Portland State, they win by 24. Should have only won by 11. Every other game, based on the shot quality metrics, they should have lost outright. These are 2 teams I'm looking to fade right now. I don't want to be on either one of them.
All right, don't want to be anywhere near it here tonight. Mid-major Matt, I'm sure the Gonzaga sign of yours is behind you, but since you don't have any power, I'm guessing that we're just going to have to assume and know that logo is behind you. And what do you think of their chances here tonight?
Well, my best bet's in this game, so I'll get to that part at least a little bit later. But, look, usually I like playing the first half overs in Gonzaga. I'm a little concerned about Kent State's defense. The pace will certainly be there. I think there'll be plenty of possessions in this game. Both teams around top 50 in tempo, according to KenPom. I think we kind of look at that Houston game for Kent State and we say, they should play this close. But you look at the victories, and they really, outside of Portland, didn't really beat anybody. And that Portland game, it was their first road game of the season. So that was a little bit of a concern here. So I think Kent State's veteran enough to withstand this thing, but I don't know necessarily if they're going to be able to cover the number when Gonzaga inevitably goes on that run that they always do.
Yeah, and it's kind of, we all know it. It'll be there. So should be an interesting one tonight, guys. 9 o'clock Eastern time tip there. We'll move over out west to another matchup here. This one involving Troy. Going to be taking on San Diego State. 16 and a half is the number in this one. 137 and a half here. This one's going to be at 10 o'clock Eastern time here. And mid-major Matt, I'll come back to you on this one. Troy is, there too have been pretty impressive with some of the games they have gone up against some of the big guys. What do you think of their chances here against San Diego State?
Yeah, when you think of San Diego State, you usually think of slow and defense. And while they're certainly not slow this year, or at least by tempo-wise, they're 119th according to Ken Pomeroy, and they're in their top 30 in shortest possession length, so that kind of contributes to things. And their defense has kind of been leaky by their standards. I mean, usually San Diego State's good for like a 55-point effort here, and the only team they've held that low was Cal State Fullerton, who's absolutely abysmal. So I was kind of looking at Troy's team total over here. Troy has kind of shown up when they've had to. They covered in that game against Arkansas. They lost to SIU Edwardsville. That's a brutal loss, but they did score 72 points in the process, and you can kind of count on them to keep some points coming. So I was looking at the Troy team total over here. Also for San Diego State, a bit of a look ahead. Now, Saturday is a far time away, but they get St. Mary's at a neutral court game, and that's going to be a whole lot bigger game for them than this game tonight. Also, they're coming off a game against Occidental, a lower-level team. I kind of like the Troy team total over a little bit in this one.
So they do have Bryan Leonard, a common opponent here recently in Arkansas, and I watched that Arkansas-Troy game, and the final score makes it seem like it was worse than what it really was, because they were in that game for a while here, 74-61. They did cover as a 16.5-point dog in that one, and here we are again with them getting that many points. What do you think their chances of keeping it close are?
Yeah, that's interesting that they played the same non-conference team in the preseason. Yeah, the Arkansas game, they lose that game by 3. If you take a look at the shot quality data, should have lost by 12. San Diego State loses by 4, should have lost by 5. So if you're looking at it that way, I would think Troy would be the way to take a look in this one. But I think Major Mike talked about something that I think San Diego State isn't playing the defense that they used to play. Maybe they'll do that once they get into conference action. But as of right now, I would think the over, not only the Troy side, but the entire game may be the better play here for both these teams to go over. Yeah, the Florida State win to open up the season, they win that game by 7. But Florida State's a much better team now. I had the pleasure of betting on them the last couple times out. They're starting to round into shape. So Florida State then and Florida State now are two different things. They wouldn't beat Florida State if they played them now. And that Edwardsville game, they only had a 21% chance of winning that game based on the post-game win percentage. So they're fading a little bit, but I think we will see a high-scoring game here. I see a lot of points. And because of San Diego State's reputation, I think we get a little bit of an odds advantage in that regard.
Okay, good stuff there. What do you think, Brian Power? How would you lean to this? Total, side, what are you going to look at?
I don't like the spot for Troy. It's their third road game in a week here. Are they as good as they looked in the first half against Arkansas? No, I don't think they are. You're right that it was a misleading final, Joe. I mean, they were ahead at the half, as a matter of fact, despite losing by 13. But they're not as bad as they, the final score makes out. Losing outright to SIU Edwardsville is very bad, even though they were only a 3-point favorite in that game. So the true answer about where this team is at is somewhere in the middle. Not as good as they looked against Arkansas, not as bad as they looked against SIU Edwardsville. But tough ask going all the way back out to the West Coast with just one day in between games. That game against SIU Edwardsville was Saturday. So this is a really tough spot, I think, for them. Yes, I know the Aztecs had some disappointing results themselves. Trammell was held out last game. I assume it was just because it was against Occidental and they just didn't care. They just wanted to give him the day off. I'm guessing he's going to be back here. This is still a top 25 team at Ken Pom. Top 18 defensive efficiency. And Troy has some injury news, too. Point guard Duke Miles, he's missed the last 2 games. So I think San Diego State actually rolls it.
All right.
They get back to business.
Listen, 16.5, terrible spot. All quality points here, guys, for a game tonight that San Diego State, we'll see if they can handle business by margin in that one. And here's one more, too. We'll stay out west, and this should be interesting because, boy, oh boy, is Portland not being impressive here or what? Taking on the Pilots, taking on North Dakota State. Another one just above 2 touchdowns in this one with a total of, 151, 10 o'clock Eastern time tip here. I mean, Bryan Leonard, what can you say? I mean, Portland has handled business here this year. What a long way this program has come. What do you think of their chances here tonight at home, taking care of business?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than many people project. If you take a look at both teams, their scoring totals this year compared to the shot quality numbers, they've both been going over, but the shot quality numbers say they should be going under. Because of that, we got an adjusted total here. Like I said, it was 7-0 the last 2 days in college basketball. And a lot of it is because you tend to make judgments on small sample sizes. And if you're able to get a different look at these things other than what the final scores are, I know in hockey I use expected goals. That really helps me. In this, the shot quality numbers help me. In football, game grades help me. I like this game to go under. I think both teams have been scoring a little bit more than what they should. And unless both teams play terrible defense, I think we'll go under in this one. This would be a pretty good bet for myself.
All right. Thinks that the under is the way to look here. Brian Power, what do you think? You in agreement here, under, or you picking a side in this one?
Yeah, I would lean to the under here as well, although I'm not sure I'd want to play anymore because this number's dropped several points since it's opened. And where I've gotten into some trouble in college hoops this year is not getting that best number when I play a total. I've had a couple tough losses. I got a lucky break on Saturday, actually, on a total. I jumped on it early, Grand Canyon, Wyoming. I got a garbage time 3 to give me a push, which was a relief, I guess, in a game that absolutely no one was watching on Saturday afternoon, I'm sure, except me. But, I think if you do want to play this, under is still would look. Portland, they shot 56.7% for last game. They're not going to do that again. North Dakota State, they just flat out don't shoot the ball well to begin with. And the under is just some trends here. 5-1 the last 6 times. North Dakota State's been a road dog, 12.5 or more. And then Portland home games, you got a total of 150, 154.5. So we're still in that range here, even with the drop. The under is 12-3, pardon me, for them. So I think the trends point to the under. I think some shooting regression for Portland points to the under. It's just a question of, has the number moved too much? But if you are looking to play this, yes, I would concur with my colleague Bryan Leonard that under is the best way to look on this game.
All right, looking at the under. What do you think, Matt Joseph's here? Both guys agreeing the under is the way to look. Are you looking team total, halves? What are you going to look at here?
Before the season began, there were 2 mid-majors that I was going to follow quite often in terms of their team totals. It was Toledo, who's done everything for me so far, and Portland was the other team. And so far, it's kind of paid off a little bit because they brought everybody back, and they're even without Mike Meadows, who they're expecting will be back at some point this season due to the groin injury, and he's a nice part of their offense. So I'd almost look at the Portland side of things. I mean, this is a North Dakota State team that gave up 91 at home to Pacific, 101 to Indiana State, who kind of plays that frenetic style of offense somewhat like Portland does. They gave up 81 to Jacksonville State, 80 to Northern Colorado. So we know that North Dakota State's defense is not very good. And Portland likes to run at home. So I would almost look at a team total over here potentially for Portland because this offense, top 25 in three-point shooting, top 25 in free throw shooting. So I really want to kind of isolate the Portland side of things. I think they have their way with North Dakota State, who's no longer playing that slow style that we know they used to play. So that's going to kind of feed into the Pilots, especially at home.
Yeah, when you're that efficient from shooting the 3, blowouts can happen for sure there with Portland. We'll see if that's exactly what goes on here tonight. But it is time, not a big card like we told you, some interesting games here. And hopefully we'll be able to isolate a best bet from these guys. And we'll start with Brian Power. And Brian, limited card here tonight. Is there a game maybe you like a little bit more than the rest here?
Yeah, I think it was last Monday we dug deeper into a card that had more games, but we're going to go pretty deep on the card. Well, you can't go too deep. It's a 7-game card like you mentioned. By the way, too bad that the show didn't start earlier. We could have talked about IUPUI and Green Bay. Ooh. That's a game that only a gambler or the parents of the players would possibly be interested in. 2 of the worst teams in America. And it felt like right on the number, too, which gave me a chuckle. But the game I'm looking at today, Joe, is Kennesaw State.
Ooh.
A program that has never had a winning season at the Division I level. I think they might be on their path to doing it this year. They're up to a 5-3 start. Road wins over App State and Mercer. They played Florida tough on the road, VCU tough on the road. This is their third straight road game. Okay, but I'm not that concerned because Charleston Southern's pretty bad, and Kennesaw won this game by 37 last year. Now that was at home. This is on the road, but you look at Kennesaw; they've shot very well from 3-point range this far, making 39.3%. Can they continue to do that? I don't know, but it's a higher percentage than what Charleston Southern is shooting overall, which is something you don't see around the fact that one team shoots better from 3 than the other team shoots overall. And Charleston Southern stinks defensively. 77.2 points per game allowed the last 5 contests. Defensive efficiency rating, bottom 30 in the country whenever you see a 330 or lower at the Ken Palm ratings. I know these guys know that. That's no good. Certainly doesn't bode well for the future here at Charleston Southern. They got blown out by USF by 20 on Friday. That's a positive showing. And their only 2 wins this year came against a non-D1 team and Bethune-Cookman. So would not feel comfortable at all playing the home team as a short underdog. And then their point guard, he may be out again. Their starting backcourt for Charleston Southern without Johnson in the lineup was a combined 4 of 17 from the field last game, 1 of 11 from 3, 11 combined points. So, I think Kennesaw State rolls here. The number has been bet up a little bit, but when you have a game like this that moved a couple points and it did so early, that's not Tom, Dick, and Harry betting $50. That's somebody who probably knows what they're doing. So I will lay the points with the favorite in this matchup.
All right, laying the points with the favorite in that one. How about you, Bryan Leonard? Which one of these games here today might you be leaning towards?
I may look like Bryan Leonard today, but I'm playing Ralph Michaels.
Oh,
and I am going to place a bet on the team that shot quality has ranked 362nd in the country. I don't know if I'll be the only one on it, but there's been a few people on it already, and that's Long Island, LIU. They're winless on the season, 0-6 on the season, and their post-game win percentage, the best, was a 30% chance to win against Northern Illinois. Again, they lost by 25 points. Well, the reason I'm playing on them is because they are playing UMass Lowell, who comes into this game 6-1 on the season. Their adjusted shot quality number is 173rd in the country. If you take look at what they have done so far, they come in with that 6-1 record. They lost to Rutgers by 8 in a game they should have lost by 20. In fact, if you go down all of their games, they're winning by margins that are higher than what they should have won by. So this is a team, on shot quality, they put up what they call a luck factor. And they're 29% to the positive. They've been very lucky. And when you take a look at Long Island, I believe they're like 8 or 9% to the over. So it's a situation where you got one team that has been very lucky in their games, another team slightly unlucky. And we're getting, the overnight was 16.5. I'm seeing 15s now with some of the sharper books. I played it as 16, gave it to my clients as 16, Long Island. It's tough to play an 0-6 team that's ranked 362nd, but the number is the great equalizer. And you're getting 16 points for a team that I think is very overrated in this Lowell team. We'll take Long Island plus the 16.
All right, taking Long Island plus the 16. That is just disgusting, Ralph. I mean, Bryan. Let's hear what you got here. Mid-major Matt Josephs again, guys. Sportsmemo.com is where you can find him. What are you looking at here tonight? I know it's the Zags, so talk to us about this game.
So, I mean, look, when you look at Kent State and what they've done so far this season, their 3 road games, they've been up in the first 10 minutes of the game. They were up on Houston, 20-13. They had a 10-point lead earlier. But the thing that kind of has happened for Kent State is they lose a little steam because they really only play like 6 or 7 guys. I mean, they play more than that, but these other guys play like 5 or 6 minutes. So what you're seeing is a team that's starting fast and in certain situations falling off towards the end. So what I'm going to look at here is I'm going to look at Kent State in the first half. I'd love to play them in the first 10 minutes. I know I can't, but, when you're Gonzaga and you're coming off a stretch of playing Baylor, Xavier, Purdue, Kentucky, Texas, Michigan State, all these teams, and now you're back home and you've got Kent State coming in, and it's a veteran Kent State team, one that's, not going to necessarily be intimidated by the kennel. I think they get a little bit of a battle early on. So I'll take Kent State in the first half here. And if it's close enough, I may take Gonzaga at halftime to cover the rest of the game. But ideally, Kent State can keep this thing close. They won't be in foul trouble, and Sincere Carry won't shoot like he did against Houston. So give me Kent State in the first half.
Ooh, first half going with Kent State in that one. And, of course, our friends from the Gold Sheet, they've got themselves a play of the day. And we would certainly encourage you guys to head on over to thegoldsheet.com, where you have great write-ups like this and, of course, great information across the board regarding the games, not only in college basketball, but the NFL, NHL, you name it. They've got you covered over at thegoldsheet.com. And their play today, they're looking at the San Diego State and Troy, and they're looking at the total here as they think it's a tough travel spot for Troy. They're going from Alabama to Illinois to San Diego, all within since Friday here, like Brian Power had mentioned. San Diego State, they've scored 70 or more in every game this year, and San Diego State, they were number 276 in adjusted tempo this year. Mid-Major Matt alluded to this. They're now 116 during this season. So they're playing much faster and putting a lot more emphasis on the offense, which is why they have no problem looking at the over in this matchup. The game that I'm looking at, guys, is going to be that Portland game. I think when you got a team that can be that efficient and that successful from shooting three, you've got blowout written all over it. I'll lay the 15.5 in that Portland spot against North Dakota. And once again, we've got Brian Power going way off the grid here with Kennesaw State. He's going to lay to 5.5. Bryan Leonard doing his best Ralph Michaels impersonation by taking two teams that you didn't even know actually played basketball, but he's going to go with Long Island, and he's going to take the 16. Matt Josephs, Kent State is the way he is looking here, but he wants him in the first half. He says take those 8.5 against the Zags. I'm going to lay it there with Portland, 14.5. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, they're going to look at the over in this Troy-San Diego State game here tonight, 137.5. And don't forget, of course, we've got $9 Monday up and available right now at wagertalk.com. You can visit both Bryan Leonard and Brian Power there. If you head over to sportsmemo.com, you'll have the full complement of mid-major Matt Joseph's best bets here. Also, $9 here, guys. No reason for you not to head on over and visit all three of these gentlemen. Kick off the week the right way over at Wager Talk and sportsmemo.com. All right, we're off and running here. Week of December 5th. We'll be back tomorrow. Much bigger slate of games in college basketball. We'll break them down for you and, of course, have some best bets. And until then, on behalf of both the Bryan brothers, Brian Power and Bryan Leonard, as well as mid-major Matt Josephs, we appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.